so we're going to start from close guard. I want to end up with an overhook, okay? But obviously, first of all, we have to get there. This is usually not just going to put his hands on the floor any extended period of time. If that was the case, yeah, perfect. Okay. Usually they're going to be hand fighting or they're going to be creating some sort of frame. Even the old school, and it's perfect, right? If you can get your hands inside and just wax off, use your legs, perfect, right? But in NoGi, generally they're always going to avoid that. They're going to keep the gap pose here. Getting inside is a right pain in the arse sometimes. If you can do it, do it. You get your arms inside, perfect. Most of the time though, what we're going to do is literally just pin his hands to the hip and then just bring him towards you, sorry. Sometimes, like the other week, we did a wrist lock, almost like it as well, like this. And then as he's falling, he'll just his hands will naturally fall to the mat. Or sometimes we end up like with double wrist control. It's not a grip that you're going to have for ages and ages, so you want to use it as quick as possible. But just throw like both his hands to his belly and then start bringing him forward. Because he has no frame, he can't stop himself falling. Sometimes I offer him the chance by showing his hands out like this. And he kind of has to. Sometimes I just push him in and I pull chest to chest. And there's, the only way he can slide the hand out is down here by our bellies. It's very hard for him to swim his arms inside through this gap. Because I'm hugging so tight. So the only way he can really get his arms out is to do that. And then we can end up with our overhook. Okay, so like I said, if we can get inside, perfect. Sometimes we just pin the hand to just shove it towards our hips. Sometimes I actually get his hand, sometimes I open the grip out. Sometimes here, and then I'll hug. And then when he works his arms out, I'll make my choice. Let's just turn this way. And we're gonna overhook. And you can see there right away, I turn to my hip. So rather than stay square like this and overhook, right away I hip out. It gives me much easier options, much harder for him. Okay, he'll always try and square up here. So try and get this bit of an angle, like this, okay? And this leg is always going to play high. If I'm down here, he can easily pummel his arm out, go, yes. He'll go thumb down, circle his hand towards, and circle it out. If my hip covers all that space, like put your hand inside, it sort of runs into my hip. If it's like down here and lazy, yeah. So we're up here all the time. This is where, square up again. This is where we get into all like Lee's cool stuff, this Williams guard. Remember, as much as you can get on your side, the better. But it's going to happen, like I said, he's going to start squaring up and he wants to get rid of this arm. He knows, I have to talk about what this guy wants to do and how he's going to do it. He knows if he puts his hand down this direction, he's going to be walking into stuff like this. So sometimes you're going to get the reaction, rather than the guy putting his hand down to his hip, he's going to put the hand up to the shoulder, he's going to turn his palm up, that's it, and he's going to pull his elbow towards him to drag the arm out. And in NoGi especially, people will take that risk. And if it's super slippy, he'll be able to free his arm. So that's what we want to try and take an advantage of. So when his hand goes up to the shoulder, he goes palm up, turn again. Sorry, a little bit more. I want to try and keep the blade of my wrist behind his tricep. So when he goes palm up and elbow towards, what I want to start doing is punching his elbow inside like this. Start pulling your arm. There. So, sorry. I want his elbow to travel down my ribs. Okay, that's the benefit again of being on your side. If I'm square here, there's nothing for it to fall into. So if I'm on my hip here like this, he goes palm up and the elbow comes across, and then I can punch it down. And then from here it's tricky, right? He can't pull his arm out because I have the blade of my wrist behind his tricep. If I lost that, if I went here, maybe he could start pulling that out. But if I'm behind the tricep, try and pull it out, he might be able to, but I've got a little wedge behind it. Is that really going on? Sorry. Yeah. So what he'll try and do, he'll try and put his arm back in the hole, like leaning towards me. Yeah, he'll go back in. So what's important is that this leg, the knee now goes inside on the hip. So So I create like a little knee shield. It doesn't have to go super deep. You can just lift up a little bit. Just here, just to stop him coming back towards me. This foot is going to stay high. Don't want to be too lazy with it here. Like it's just going to stay up here on the hip. And then, however you can assist this hand to go up to the ceiling. Sometimes you do it one-handed. You can see that's already going on. Sometimes you can get palm to palm. Sometimes you have to go like a modified like sort of Kimura grip. And then to help put it on as well, I'm going to push his hip away and pull my head away from him. So we get this Mia lock. Okay, so this guy's reaction is very specific for this one. So I'm going to feed his hands to him. His arms are going to come out. I take that over hook and hip out. His choice is not to go hand to the hip, because he knows he's going to walk into all this sort of stuff. So he's going to go hand up to the shoulder, palm up, and try and pull his elbow towards it. And if he's quick, or if I'm not like responsive enough, he will. He'll just yank that right out, especially NoGi, come right out. Okay? So we have to be responsive as well. So as he goes hand to the shoulder, palm up, elbow towards, I punch his elbow across my chest. Just rotate it. Knee goes inside on the hip. That'll prevent him from pushing his arm back in. Remember, the blade of the wrist stays on his tricep behind his elbow. If you end up this side, the chances of him recovering his arm are much greater. So you want to be here. And then use this as a bit of a hand assist. Sometimes you can connect here like this. And then the extra little bit is pushing his hip away and pulling your head away. Feed his hands, break his posture. He'll put his hands to the outside. He'll go palm up, hand to the shoulder. He'll try and drag it across, punch it through. Hip out, knee in front, connect, and stretch. Okay guys, on three, 1, 2, 3.